This photograph is taken from the glass negatives, and it was an accidental discovery of a photograph that I originally have that is of my mother's sister and her friends. My mother was a Lubliner, and a copy of this photo is what she had from the time of the beginning of the war that she had taken with her. And the copy was in our photo album for decades, which was very exciting. But I never thought any more much about the photograph until about a year and a half ago, when I was looking at the website of the Yiddish Book Center, and they had listings of their upcoming programs, and they had a photograph that was advertising the event of the Glass Negatives of Lublin with Piotr Nazaruk, and it was this exact photo, and it was such a tremendous shock. I couldn't understand how it would be possible that they had this photo that was residing in one of our family albums. And I immediately contacted another friend of mine at Brama Grodzka, and I asked for Piotr's email address. And I immediately wrote to him and explained the story, and he wrote back, and we spoke on WhatsApp, and this was before his presentation, and it just was an incredible story that this one particular photo was among this treasure of glass negatives. And for me, it was an exceptional thrill to watch Piotr's presentation, and for me, seeing how passionate he was about each and every glass negative that he handled with such love and care, it just was so heartwarming for me. And then the real gift to me was towards the end of the presentation, and the photo appears on the screen, and Piotr is telling the story of this particular photo and my connection with it, and there were no words to explain just how beautiful that was. And what I especially love is the fact that my mother's sister and her friends are brought back to life, not only from being in my album, but especially because it is known in this treasure trove of the glass negatives. And an interesting part about the story of the photo is that this is one of my mother's sisters. My mother had 6 sisters, and as I was growing up, she was not very forthcoming about speaking about the names of her siblings because it was very painful for her. So when she first introduced me to this photo, she said, "This is my lovely sister and her friends." And she did not tell me which sister it is. So it could be her 3 younger sisters. It could be Maria, Leah, or Chaya. And that knowledge for me is enough. I think of it as almost a combination of all 3. So this is my thrill. My aunt is this beautiful young woman in the center, wearing a little bit of a neckerchief around her shoulders. So I imagine that she and all these beautiful women, her close friends, were having the most beautiful day in a local forest, and forever they will be, captured by this amazing photo. Yes, I did not know I was going to be actually holding the glass negative, because I thought that perhaps there was, a copy of the photo already created and I would be holding that. But I had the honor and the thrill of holding the glass negative because it was like no other experience that I've had. Holding a handful of precious jewels, and I knew I had to be holding it with great reverence and stillness and patience, and because it was that precious to me. So with gloves on my hands, it made it easier, to be treating it with the care that it deserved. Yes. First of all, the photographer had a fabulous eye, and he enjoyed his subjects of people, because from seeing a lot of the other photographs, each one was stunning in itself. So he had a gift. He had a gift for photography, really, and to capture the moment of so many people. And he probably didn't realize that by doing what he has done is that they have become an extraordinary record of preserving the lives of countless people, whether they were actually Lubliners or not, or maybe they lived elsewhere. And this particular photo gives me a great insight into my aunt and her friends, and how they loved being together, and they were on an outing in a forest. So they obviously love to connect with nature, and it's a permanent joy to be a witness to this particular photo. And it's a historical document, and one of very few items that I have really from my mother's side of the family, the Milstein family. So there is only one sibling that I met who survived. There were 9 siblings. There were 7 girls and 2 boys, and one of her older brothers survived and went to Israel, and I had the opportunity to meet him, which was extraordinary for me. It was a very close-knit family. My grandfather was a shoemaker, and my grandmother was a homemaker, and they lived on Ulica Tovarova, 27, and I hunger for the knowledge of what they all must have looked like, because there were no existing photos that my mother had. Only this one photo that, for whatever the reason, she had. So at least I know now what her sister looks like and what a brother looks like, and it's a curiosity, because you want to see more. You want to see much more of everyone. And even though that's not possible, it makes this particular photo even more important, and one that we will be especially treasuring for the future years, from one generation to the next. I'm so happy that we've had a chance to gather together again. And I will tell you, this particular year, I've been thinking about my family and what would it have been like if they could be present and see among the descendants what were the things they were discussing, and it would have brought, I think, a very interesting dimension to it. And I know that I would have loved to have my mother present, and of course her entire family. They would have had much to contribute, I'm sure, but especially her, because she was so vivacious and full of life, and a beautiful, beautiful person. And her name was Sarah Milstein, by the way. And so it's really, for me, in memory of my entire Lublin family, that for me it is such a beautiful thing to be present here in Lublin, and with new friends and old friends, just to share what's beautiful about life here in Lublin.